What if I told you that everything you think you know about attracting women is wrong? That it has nothing to do with having the perfect pickup line, the most expensive watch, or the chiseled jawline of a movie star? What if the one thing holding you back is simply the way you talk? Not what you say, but how you say it. For most men, the word flirting brings up images of cheesy, awkward, and often rejected attempts to be charming. It feels like a high-stakes performance where you either nail it or you go down in flames. But that's the wrong way to look at it. Today, we're going to change that. You're about to discover that flirting isn't a performance. It's a conversation. It's not about memorizing lines. It's about creating a vibe. And trust me, it's actually much, much easier than you think. So, get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll have a completely new understanding of how to connect with women in a way that's fun, confident, and genuinely attractive. First, we need to understand why most men fail when they try to flirt. Let's look at a typical conversation. Imagine a guy approaches a woman. He asks where she's from, what she does for work, what her hobbies are. She answers politely. He answers. It's a perfectly normal, logical, and friendly exchange of information. And that is exactly the problem. The conversation is 100% platonic. There's no spark, no tension, no playfulness. It's an interview. At the end of it, he might have learned a few facts about her, but he hasn't created any real attraction. He's put himself directly on the fast track to the friend zone, a place that's comfortable, safe, and completely devoid of romance. That is the ultimate dead end. And that's why flirting is so essential. It's the ingredient that transforms a boring, logical conversation into an exciting, memorable interaction. It signals your romantic interest without you having to spell it out. It makes her see you as a potential partner, not just another nice guy to chat with. So if flirting is so important, where does it all go wrong? The single biggest mistake men make is being far too obvious and direct. It's the approach that kills all mystery, and, with it, all the excitement. Intrigue is what makes things fun, but being overly direct just lays all your cards on the table from the very first second. Think about it. An awkward, obvious attempt at a compliment sounds something like this. She says she loves to paint, and he immediately says, "I bet you look beautiful when you're painting." See the problem? It's clumsy. It's a direct attempt to get a positive reaction from her, which immediately puts her on the spot and signals that you're seeking her approval. That kind of directness actually removes a woman's ability to participate in the discovery of the attraction. Women are often socialized to be wary of being seen as too forward or promiscuous. When you are so direct about your intentions, you remove any sense of magic or spontaneity. It feels less like a natural connection and more like a transaction. What you want to do instead is give her the space to meet you halfway, to let the connection feel like something that just happened. This is accomplished through subtlety. So if being too obvious is the problem, the solution is learning the art of being subtle. This is where the real magic of flirting happens. It's about communicating your interest indirectly, through implication. Let's go back to our earlier example. She says she loves to paint. Instead of that clumsy, direct compliment, imagine a more subtle response. You could smile and say, "Oh, a creative type." That's always a little dangerous. Do you see the difference? In both cases, you're showing interest. But in the second example, it's indirect. You're not complimenting her looks, you're commenting on her personality, her spirit. You're implying that you find her intriguing without laying it on thick. Implying your attraction is far more exciting for a woman than just bluntly stating it. By creating a little bit of mystery and leaving some things unsaid, you show that you're not the kind of guy who is desperately chasing approval from anyone who gives him the time of day. On the contrary, being overly direct makes you seem needy, like you'd fall for anyone who shows you the slightest bit of attention. When you skillfully wrap your intentions in subtlety, you not only generate excitement, you also project yourself as a high-value man, someone she should feel lucky to be talking to. This brings us to one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make, acting as if you are the prize. Most women, especially attractive ones, are used to being the prize. They have dozens, if not hundreds, of guys pursuing them. But you can instantly separate yourself from the crowd by flipping this dynamic on its head. How? By playfully insinuating that she is the one trying to win you over. You frame the conversation as if she's the pursuer, and you're just the innocent guy she's trying to charm. A key part of this is learning how to handle her tests. Women will often test you, sometimes subconsciously, to see if they can throw you off your game. It's a way of gauging your confidence. If you get defensive or insecure, you fail. But if you remain completely unfazed and playful, you pass, and her attraction for you skyrockets. The easiest way to pass these tests is with a technique called agree and amplify. It's simple. You agree with whatever she says, and then you exaggerate it to an almost absurd level. Let's say she gives you a classic test. I bet you use that line on all the girls. Instead of getting defensive and saying, "No, I don't," you agree and amplify. You could say, "Of course. It's my one line. I wake up, I use the line, I go back to sleep. It's a very efficient system." Or if she says something like, "Buy me a drink," instead of immediately complying like a servant, you can playfully flip the script. You could lean in with a grin and say, whoa, slow down. I'm not that easy. At least let me get to know you first." You're twisting her words and actions to make it seem like she's the one hitting on you. This reframes the entire interaction. It's no longer an interview where you're trying to impress her. It's a fun, playful game where the roles are reversed and you are the one being pursued. Once you've mastered that playful dynamic, you can introduce what I like to call the emotional roller coaster, also known as the push-pull technique. This is a simple, yet incredibly effective method of flirting that creates a powerful sense of intrigue. As the name suggests, it involves a playful mix of pulling her in and then gently pushing her away, either verbally or physically. For example, you could pull her in with a compliment and then immediately follow it with a playful push. You could say, "You're actually really funny." And then after a brief pause, you push her away with, "For a girl." Or you could pull her in by saying, "You have the most amazing smile," and then push by adding, "It's a little bit mischievous though. I think I need to keep an eye on you." This back and forth contradiction creates excitement and keeps her on her toes. It's unpredictable, and unpredictability is magnetic. Imagine you meet a woman who seems absolutely perfect, but from the moment you meet, she just throws herself at you. There's no challenge, no effort required. Suddenly, she doesn't seem quite as high value as you first thought. You might even find yourself losing interest. It's a fundamental principle of human nature. We value what we have to work for. Push-pull demonstrates that you are not easily won over. It shows that you have standards and that you're a high-value guy who isn't just looking for quick validation. Finally, a good starting point for all of this is to playfully accuse her of trying to seduce you. For example, if she mentions something about her apartment in a completely innocent context, you can jokingly ask, "Are you already trying to get me back to your place? I'm not that kind of guy, It may seem bold, but women almost always enjoy this kind of teasing. Don't be surprised if she plays along and the joke eventually becomes a reality. This also opens the door for you to use more subtle, sexual allusions. You can't just walk up to a woman and tell her you're a great lover, but you can hint at it. If you've invited her over and you make her a drink and she says, "Wow, you're really good at that," you can simply make eye contact, smile, and say, "I'm good at a lot of things." She will absolutely understand the implication, and it will make her want to know more. This is how you build sexual tension in a way that's smooth, confident, and not at all creepy. So let's bring it all together. Flirting isn't about lines or routines. It's a mindset. It's about shifting from direct to subtle, from being the chaser to being the prize, and from being predictable to being playfully challenging. It's about having fun with the conversation. The next time you're talking to a woman you find attractive, I challenge you to try just one of these ideas. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about getting her number. Just focus on making the conversation more enjoyable for both of you. Frame her as the pursuer, use a little push-pull, or make a subtle implicative comment. You will be absolutely amazed at how differently she responds when you stop trying to impress her and start having fun instead. That's when you'll realize that flirting, when done right, is actually very, very easy.